Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, this is 1979's Squeeze Play, and it is the one right there. And this is part of the Sexy Box. This has 4 teen sex comedies made by Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hertz from Troma Retro. Right here, I picked this up about 5-6 years ago, and we are looking at one of the 4 films. We're going to look at all these films in the future on this YouTube page, but one of the 4 films, Squeeze Play from 1979. Right there, folks. And you can look up the poster art if that wasn't as clear. Squeeze play forms itself off of a baseball term, I believe, or in this film, it's softball. And this is a film that brings in the vibe. I mean, it's very late 70s, but the vibe of, late 70s, very early 80s sex comedy involving softball and involving some pretty weighty issues and a lot of humor from varying levels. You can see this beginning the Troma world and some of the humor, but it's not what you know of Troma, in the modern sense, or in the late 80s and 90s and in the current. But you can see the beginnings here. So we're going to get into Squeeze Play, 1979. This is a very unknown teen sex comedy, and one that needs to be talked about more. So let's get into it. I have some notes written here, so you might see my eyes divert. Right off the bat, we have a theme song for the film, so involving the title Squeeze Play. It's awesome. We have funky, poppy 70s vibes in the music. This is a film chock full of music, wall-to-wall music in this film. We have some video game sounds in this amazing opening title card for the film that I'm going to try to do a snapshot of, or get a snapshot of, and maybe post it on my Instagram or something. But it's just so cool with some great sound effects. Really wild fades in the edit for the film as well, and not consistently, but just kind of scattered throughout the film. Some really high energy, wild, comic booky, sexy, fun fades to some of the scenes in the film. Squeeze Play is filled with energy and pacing. This is a film that's about 1 hour and 38 minutes long. And the energy level is like a cocaine teen sex comedy. I mean, definitely, that's the energy, that's the vibe, that's the power and the pacing of the film. They even utilize some slow motion in here as well in some of the effects. Some funky disco vibes to the music. And I have to tell you, having wall-to-wall music in this film just adds to the very fun, very party, very energetic pacing to this film. The music occupies and helps that world as well. Just immediate fun. And this is a beautiful type of film as well, where you are occupying time with a plot that fills the worlds of parties and fun and softball and drinking and bars and all the rest. And I'm going to get into that some more. And so you have this party vibe to the film. And what I love about teen sex comedies is that you're following characters doing their thing. Following characters. The plot is just their day, their night, the next day, what's going on, and but with some weighty themes in this film as well. We have some uses of the word fart in the film. We have a small child, this little girl, obviously little girl, who's wearing a really tight shirt, who is just this dirty mouth, and it's hilarious. And you see her near the beginning of the film, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this girl's crazy. It's a young girl. She's probably 8 years old or something, and she just is filthy. And you'll just see her for a little bit, and she just steals the show when she's in the scenes. So wild and edgy. We have some scenes at a hair salon with some slapstick. We have a private investigator in the film, and a lot of kind of slapstick humor with him and his facial gestures and idiosyncrasies. We have this wild piece of dialogue involving Dick and Cock and Coach or Koch, Koch, different names. It's almost like who's on first, who's on second, but done in a very wild slapstick late 70s plus Troma vibes, and it's really well orchestrated and written in a very funny manner. So Dick Cock narration. We have a theme of softball versus family. We kind of have this is a movie with very weighty gender issues. This is a film of men versus women and all of the different elements of that, and the idea of men needing to be with other men and getting away from their women, spending time, how much time away from home, and softball being that escape or that thing that they do. For modern men, it might be a lot of times golf, but in this film it's softball, and we kind of have the elements of that and the women's responses to men going out and being in this world, and the men's reactions to their women. We have a wet t-shirt contest in this film that's quite jiggly and quite wild. We have a band playing to the camera, looking at the camera, reminding me of Computer Beach Party a bit, which I've looked at on this YouTube page. Awesome. And lots of great energy again with some live music. Were they playing the theme song Squeeze Play? I do not know. They could have been. I was trying to figure that out, and I think they could have been. We have the theme of marriage in this film as well, and commitment, and also broken relationships and things of that. We have some 50s music in this film as well, reminding me of the Israeli Lollipop series, but of also, teen sex comedies. One of my friends will always say, teen sex comedies, they sometimes have these 50s, vibes to them, like the film Screwballs, which I'll look at in the future on this page. And so it's interesting that all of a sudden we were in 70s, we were in funk, we were in early 80s music, and then all of a sudden we have some 50s music, which you can hear in the trailer for the film as well. We also have some kind of old 20s, 30s big band type music in the film also. There's this great scene of, obviously simulated, this is an R-rated film, but a simulated blowjob, and then it cuts directly to a white custard sundae being kind of made at an ice cream shop. Interesting gender issues involving male-dominated sports, which reminded me of the film Teammates, which I've looked at already on this YouTube page, a very, very unknown film as well. We have some interesting storylines at the mattress shop in the film. There's a mattress shop and some mattress shop workers and some slapstick there. So interesting, so bizarre, a mattress shop. We also have this girl just flying through the air and landing. A girl getting punched in the face by accident. So some real wild, violent, slapstick, gender humor in here as well. Edgy, wild. Some great edit with talking, and the talking will transcend time as it goes over another scene of what will happen to the people that we're talking in the future. Does that make sense? So some very good editing, some really cool artistic vibes to characters talking and about something that they're going to do, and then all of a sudden their talking continues over the next scene of them actually doing it. It's timeless. It's almost surreal a little bit. We have an awesome beach party, a warm beach party in the film. We have some characters doing sexual role-playing in the movie. We have this hilarious old drunk janitor in the film, which reminded me of the guy on the train in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, or the old man in the bar at the end of Adam Sandler and The Wedding Singer. And he occupies a pretty big storyline in the film and a very weird position as well in his role in the film. We have some dialogue involving what makes a fag. That would be a homosexual, not a British term for a cigarette. We have some interesting themes of role reversals with gender in the film. We have some Billy Joel sounding like music that's really, really great, with a great montage, a lot of emotion and nostalgia to that montage. If you love, teen sex comedies, and if you love those 80s worlds, you're gonna love the montage. We have some really great close-up shots of boobs and butts, mostly in clothing, being huddled in shirts or held tight in shorts that are barely fitting. A great, as I mentioned, a montage, and this is a training montage, a sports training Rocky-like montage, and it's just beautiful. We have some wild jokes involving boogers, and this insane scene where somebody shoots something out of their nose into another character's mouth. Just wild. Steel-plated jock straps. As a matter of fact, we have a lot of jockstrap talk in this film, and smelling. A 20s old-fashioned type silent movie vibe to me of a fight, of a fist fight in the movie. Amazing breast reveal in this film, which reminded me of this girl that I really liked in New Year's Evil in the car. I mean, it's not a great circumstance in New Year's Evil, but in this one, it's a girl that, almost like in Screwballs, which I'll look at in the future, where all of a sudden you're like, are we going to see this girl's boobs? And you do, and it's amazing. We have this crazy edit where there's like scenes within scenes within scenes, like, or just like a square on the top of the screen of another scene. Some really fancy artistic editing here. We have a battle of the sexes, lots of double entendres, lots of sexual language mix-ups, humor, almost linguistic slapstick, sexual slapstick, double entendres. We have a softball going into a guy's ass. We have this amazing scene of a guy in the bleachers watching a game. He's a dad and he's holding his infant baby on his lap, but he's getting turned on by some of the girls in the field. So he gets a boner and moves the baby over to his wife. Unbelievable scene. Never seen anything like it before. We have like a full softball game in the film, complete with, title cards on the screen, and sexual shenanigans with the softball and slapstick, and an amazing announcer, and lots of yogurt and Pepsi in this film with product placement. Very, very interesting and weird, and they use that as part of the humor. And just unbelievable sexy softball girls in this film, and sexy softball outfits, and all the girls look amazing in this film, are sexually attractive, great hair, great vibes. This is quite a film, and we have, as I said, a large section of softball playing that occupies the style and the substance of this film called Squeeze Play from 1979. Here it is, folks, Squeeze Play from 1979. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like Squeeze Play. Please feel free to check out all my other reviews on this YouTube page, as well as my own personal films, youtube.com/poopy, Poopy diarrhea. Thank you so much, and good night.